welcome all of you to this knowledge sharing and networking event. This is jointly organized by Knauf AMF as well as Buildotech magazine. As you all know, Buildotech magazine is India's premier magazine on building technology, design and sustainability. And Knauf AMF is the leading German company for high performance ceilings. From Knauf AMF, we have Mr. Stefan Blöckel. He's the Regional Sales Manager, India and Asia Pacific. And Mr. Teddy D'Souza. He is the Director Operations, Knauf AMF India. And Buildotech is represented by Mrs. Mangala Chandran, Editor-in-Chief of Buildotech magazine. This is the third of the series of such seminars that we've been having, including networking events. And in Delhi, that was the first event, we discussed fire safety features of ceilings. And in Chennai, the panel tackled both acoustics as well as fire safety features. So our panel today includes eminent architects who will give a rich insight into the critical design strategy and material choices for creating aesthetic yet functional interiors. So before we start, we have Mr. Stefan Blöckel, who will give us a brief presentation, and he will talk to us about Knauf AMF's latest high-performance ceiling materials and systems. Mr. Stefan.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our kind event this evening. And I want to just give you a brief introduction into the world of Knauf AMF and into our company. Since a long time now, Knauf AMF is a part of the leading manufacturers for ceiling systems in Europe. So all our material comes from Europe. We are since 20 years now a member of the Knauf Group, and Knauf AMF developed and produced since that time innovative and still does produce innovative ceiling solutions for the worldwide need. As we are not just based in the European markets, also in the Asian markets, in the American markets, we have to listen to all the demands which are required from the different areas. We are having our strong brands, which is the Thermatex, Vantatec and Hera Design, about which I will tell you later on as well. A short overview over the history. We divided this into 1963 to 2000, so quite a long period. In 1963, the first manufacture of mineral fiber ceiling tiles using our own patented manufacturing process started in the place where the company is still existing today. In 1970, AMF was founded as a own company. In 1985, AMF became independent from the former owning company. In 1995, Knauf took over 50% of the shares, and AMF reached the capacity limit. We had to expand our dryer up to 10 million square meter. In 1999, again, capacity limit was reached, and we had to expand our dryer up to 17 million square meters. At that time, we also reached the total capacity of our factory. So we had this discussion going on what to do, how to continue. Go somewhere else, stay there where we are, and the location where we are is a little bit unpractical for an exporting company which has 85% exports, because we are totally located in the inland area of Germany. We are 800 kilometers away from the sea. But as we are one of the biggest company in the entire area and very important for this area, everybody in our company thought that we can stay where we are. So in 2002, the remaining 50% were taken over by Knauf in Iphofen, which is a very important thing because Knauf is not a company who wants to get money out of their companies. Knauf is taking the money which the company gained and investing it for new facilities, for new staff, and so on and so forth. So this was quite a very good development for us. Then, as you can see, this red marked area, all this was the former mother company of AMF. All this they went bankrupt, and all these buildings were removed. In 2003, the building up Factory 2 started, which was then the installation of a new robot production line and of a finishing line. So in 2003 to 2014, now a lot of things happened. In 2005 first, our new factory started with a total capacity of 50 million square meters, both the factories, Factory 1 and Factory 2. In 2006 and 2007, we increased the production capacity of Factory 2 up to 35 million square meters as we installed a second finishing line. In 2008, we had the best year of our history so far. In 2011, we started with the production of our own grid, steel grid made in Germany. And in 2013, we got our last baby, which was Hera Design wood wool mineral fiber ceiling systems. So in short, we have two production facilities. One is located in Grafenau in Germany. The other one is located in Ferndorf in Austria. We have a total capacity of all these factories of 65 million square meters. We have a capacity in our grid plant of 220 million linear meters. We have more than 600 employees worldwide. We deliver to more than 90 countries. Actually, it's 92, but it's more than 90 countries worldwide. And we have more than 30 branches worldwide, which is offices like in India, in all over Europe, but also in Brazil, in Australia, Taiwan, and so on. So that you see where we are located and how it looks like where we are located. This is our factory in Grafenau, where we produce mineral fiber ceiling systems and T-grid. And this is our factory in Austria. So we are offering our corporate brand, one corporate brand which is Knauf, AMF, GmbH and Co. KG, with the three product brands, AMF Thermatex for mineral fiber ceiling tiles, AMF Ventatec for the T-grid system, and Hera Design for the wood wool and design products. So this is our world. Then we are offering our know-how. We are, as you saw, since more than 50 years producing mineral fiber ceiling systems. So we have a huge know-how in sound protection. Our product, the entire mix of product, has a sound absorption coefficient up to alpha W 1.0, starting with 0.1, so a very big range. This 1.0 is extremely absorbing material, which is getting also important in some areas. Same as NRC value, noise reduction coefficient, SPSTM, up to 1.0, and we can reach a sound attenuation level of 44 dB with our product. Sound makes you ill, fire kills actually. So we are also having big know-how in fire protection. All the AMF Thermatex ceiling panels are, as per EN 13501, tested A2S1D0, which is non-combustible. Our systems reach up to 120 minutes of fire protection. We are having structural and independent fire protection, and we are testing not just national, we are testing also international, like in France, in UK, and in Italy, but also recently we did it in Malaysia. Health and hygiene products we also can offer. Our products are used in clean rooms. We have a ceiling tile which is covered with a vinyl. Then we have we reach different clean room classes, like, okay, this is per ISO 14644, but I think we are talking in India more about class 100 and 1000. So all our tiles reach this class 100 and some of them also 1000. Then we have all the material is cleanable, starting with wiping with a damp cloth, but also washable tiles. We have one ceiling tile which is humidity resistant up to 100%. We have these clean room certifications when you have a special way of installation that these tiles are used for clean rooms. We have an additive which is our Hygiena coating, which is protecting against bacteria and fungi. And yeah, application examples are, of course, operating theaters, pharmaceutical areas, electronics, food industry, and so on. Then, of course, for most of the guys in here, important the material and design issue. We developed our Vario line tiles, which are printable ceiling tiles, where we can print any surface which you want to have. As standard, we have some wood finishes, we have some metal finishes, but Vario line, the name says it, we can print anything what you want, company logos, skies, whatever. Then, of course, we have the Hera Design wood wool panels, which can be colored in any different color shade what is available according to RAL or NCS, and which can be cut to any shape, which can be bended, which can be used as direct installation, wall application, and so on. Then we are also offering our BMX system, which is a small elevator for the beamer that the beamer can hide in the ceiling void. We are offering a full system, and to a full system you also have to offer some lights. You also have to offer speakers, where or this market we are tackling with our Sound Mosaic, which is a speaker which is invisible, so that the white plain surface does not get destroyed. So talking about our brands, which is AMF Thermatex, which you learned already, mineral panels from Knauf AMF, consisting out of biosoluble mineral wool, perlite clay, and starch, nothing else. It's produced in the wet felt method. It's fire safety and best absorption performances. Various design and 38 different surfaces. Then we are having our AMF Ventatech, the grid system from Knauf AMF, strong and stable connection. We have a click system, which means that you have to hear the click, then you know that the grids are connected to each other. If you don't hear it, it's not 100% connected. And of course, this is the best harmony, or the best combination of mineral fiber tiles is the Thermatex tiles and this Ventatech grid system. What is very important, especially for Europe, is that you have a full system certification. Like I told you before, fire protection up to 120 minutes. This is not just for the tile, this is always the full system is fire rated. Because what is the use of a tile which is not burning if the grid system collapses after 20 minutes? And of course, we can supply the complete system from one single source. Then the Hera Design tiles, sustainable wood wool ceiling systems made in Austria, outstanding sound absorption in combination with attractive design. I will show you some reference pictures later as well. It's a very special surface, but it's a very creative surface and for very creative uses. Yeah, wide color range, and you can use it as buffers, you can use it as wall covering, you can use it as ceiling rafts, so nearly no limitations. The field of applications where we are operating in is the education sector. Here you can see this is a school in Germany, in Würzburg. Then sports facilities. This is a training room of a football club in Serbia. Then offices with ceiling planks. Entertainment sector is also huge for us. We are offering black ceiling tiles along with a black matching grid. Leisure, yeah, this is for example one of the reference pictures which I was talking about for the Hera design. This is wood panels colored on site. Of course, the health sector, very important for us. This is from a hospital. So what is new from us? We have the Thermatex acoustic range. The Thermatex acoustic range giving you a uniform or a unique appearance with different levels of performance. We have sound absorption coefficients of alpha W 0.15 up to 1.0. We reach sound attenuation with some of the tiles of 44 decibel. You have one single surface with different performances, which is quite unique in the world. And of course, you do not have to make a decision between ISO fire protection or sound absorption. Our products combine these two important things. Then we have our sonic range, which is our different ceiling rafts. We have the Sonic Arc, which is either convex or concave, with a huge range of colors. We can use the printing technology with this, so you can have it as a wood surface. It's very easy to install with adjustable hangers and with you just need 4 screws. Then we have the Sonic Sky, where you have a normal lay-in installation, for example, but you create these ceiling islands out of it. Special shapes are available, like trapezoids, triangles, L shapes, or whatsoever. Can be installed at an angle, but non-horizontal. This is also clear. Then we have our Thermatex Sonic Element, which is ceiling raft without any frame, and voila. The Sonic Modern, which is one single tile with aluminium frame around it. Then we also can offer this material which we put on the ceiling, we can put on the wall for as additional absorption area. Then I was talking about this 100% humidity resistant tile. This is our Thermatex Aquatec. This tile is washable, clean room class 3 as per ISO, giving you NRC or alpha W value of 0.9 up to 28 dB, and is available also as an option with our Hygiena coating. And then we have our Vario line with defined standard surfaces in metal, in wood, and of course also the customized option. Gives you of course the appearance of wood, but also the fire protection of the mineral fiber. Yeah, we are relying on quality. We are having full certifications, we are having third-party certifications, we are a very transparent company. Whatever you want to see, we can show you. We are certified according to ISO 14001, which is nothing else than us over the company. You check what goes in and what comes out. And this is a very hard test for us because it is, taking into consideration everything like certification, recycling, building certificates, which is also getting more and more important, transport, and our material. So we are, for example, sourcing our material locally. Locally means we have a circle of 600 kilometers around our factory where the material is coming from. Nothing from China, everything based in Europe. Most of the material coming from Germany as well, raw products. Then we are taking care about the transportation. We are not trucking every container individually to Hamburg. We are making combined transportation with the train. That this is the best environmental protective issue how you can transport it. Also within Germany, we take care about that not every single pallet is carried out individually. We combine transports to different areas, to full trucks. We are recycling. Our material is 100% recyclable. That means we do not have any waste from the production. We recycle also the off-feed of our dryers. In our place, it can be up to minus 15 degrees in the winter time. So we need to heat up the offices. We need to heat up the water. This is all coming from the environment, from the off-feed of our drying facility. So we are offering environmental friendly products, manufacturing with a careful use of fossil fuels, recycling and reutilization, product certification and the constant control. This is also very important for us, also for the ISO or for the Blue Angel, which we are certified. We have to make a continuous product control because those guys can come every day and check every product which we are having there in our warehouse if this is according to their standards. And also what I see as one of the most important things is the social engagement. We are taking very much care about our area where we are located, especially with, we are sponsoring our local sports club and so on, and giving jobs for handicapped people. So communication is very important for us. On the left-hand side, you can see our forum in Grafenau, which is our permanent exhibition showroom where we welcome more than 3,000 seminar guests every year. We have our own Center for Research and Development where we do testing our material or also developing new materials. And we are participating in trade fairs, in exhibitions, and also making panel discussions like this all over the world. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and now I may hand over to our host from Bildotech. Thank you.
In fact, we do have 3 case studies of the use of Hera design in wall panels and ceiling panels in the latest Bildotech magazine, which you have with you. So you can feel free to have a look at that and get some more information about that. I would now like to call upon our distinguished panelists to please come on the stage. I have with us Mr. Architect Hiren A. Gandhi. He is a veteran architect and planner from SET Ahmedabad and is the founder of Hiren Gandhi and Associates design firm. He is known for his innovative design solutions to suit a particular context of economics, climate, and the site constraints. His award-winning projects really range from villas to large-scale residential, institutional, commercial, religious, sports, and industrial complexes in the state of Gujarat and beyond. Welcome, Mr. Gandhi. We have architect Yatin Pandya. He's the founder of Footprints Earth. Is also an architect from SET with a master's degree from McGill University, Montreal. He is an author, activist, academician, researcher, and has been involved with urban design, architecture, interior design, and conservation projects. Yatin has won nearly 25 national and international awards for design, research, as well as dissemination. So welcome. Also joining us from Mumbai is architect Prem Nath, founder and principal architect of Prem Nath and Associates. In his over 45 years of experience, he has handled projects ranging from residential, commercial, IT and ITES complexes, institutes, corporate offices, malls, and multiplexes. He has won an array of recognitions, the recent one being the Lifetime Achievement Award and the NDTV Excellence in Architecture Award. Welcome, sir. Also joining the panel is Mr. Teddy D'Souza. He's the Director Operations from Knauf AMF India. He has 25 years experience in the building construction segment and 14 years in the aircon industry before that. Welcome. So I would now request Mr. Prem Nath, if you could moderate the session, and all of you actually join in, and we're looking forward to a very informative session where you can get some good knowledge. So I hand it over to you.
Dear friends, it's nice to be here in the beautiful city of Hyderabad, in British Ahmedabad, and a group of architects and friends. It's nice to be here in your presence. I'm sorry I got a little late today. My flight was delayed. I could have met you earlier to know you more administrative business point of view. False ceilings and going beyond in kind of aesthetics. False ceiling was a great tool for doing decoration for many years, for many centuries. I'll be able to show you a little presentation in the course of time. I don't know how the sequence is going to be there. And we've been seeing for many years, as a child, I could see the decoration happening through public buildings and some government buildings, or some places like worship places and churches and kind of temples and mosques, kind of places like that, where they are excellent kind of for inbuilt architectural kind of construction and called decoration of wall and a false ceiling, and some of them lasted about hundreds of years, and they are still beautiful, and they're beyond aesthetics. Today, of course, we are in a very fast track situation. Today we are in a very fast track world. We do things very quickly, we think very quickly, we construct very quickly, and we also lose very quickly. Today, different challenges. We moved a long way in our profession in the last many years. I'm sure about people who are of my age and known things better, different, and people who are younger age, they've seen life differently. I'll be able to give you glimpses in the course of time, and I would possibly ask my friends over here, Mr. Gandhi, to carry forward further on that. I better started, and I'll give you from his views. Please, Mr. Gandhi.
I would like to carry forward from what he said, that we had the ceilings which were part of the structure. And before I go further, I would like to show some visuals which are of the traditional architecture, which
Very good, very good. Please.
So can we?
I'd be
And
nice.
I hope you are also able to see, because
Surely, we'll definitely move on this side, yes.
you can maybe have a look there.
No, we will join the audience, because it's better on the bigger screen.
No, it's, yeah, you can. Then
Panel doesn't have to sit over here. The panel can move around. We have friends. We don't be so formal about it.
actually, we should not have been like that.
It's okay, fine. We can always decide ourselves to be among us, among
Yes,
them.
exactly.
Interact with them on the contrary.
Yeah. Which I would like to share, that in our traditional architecture, actually the decoration or per se the ceiling itself was a part of the structure, and it was very much part of our Indian culture. And you see some of these photographs in which even the modern things like the fan and lighting fixtures have been incorporated. So first is that of the Padmanabhapuram Palace, Kerala. Then you see maybe you go next. Yeah. Then it's the Chettinad House, Tamil Nadu, and you have this Dilwara Temple Dome, which is you see the decoration also served the purpose of the acoustic, apart from serving the aesthetic needs and the religious this thing. Then this is a wonderful picture which I saw recently. The house. It is a collector's bungalow in Bharuch, which is built in 1869 and still functional. And you see the ceiling, which is the, you see there are these rafters, and those rafters have been decorated. And how beautiful it is. And even in this, things like fans and all have been incorporated. Then of course it is the Rafael Manazzo Library, Barcelona. And then you have our own Victoria Terminus, where I mean, we had also the public architecture at that time, and the issues of aesthetic, issues of safety which were there. Of course, they were not probably that much complex, but then those were addressed even at that time. Then you have this City Hall, subway station, New York, and you have this Boston Library, which is public library where the intricate structural system is incorporated within the thing. And then you have T2 terminal, which is a structure and the decoration combined together. So yeah, that's it. So this is just to give a kind of a glimpse. Of course, the needs have, like Mr. Premnath rightly said, that now we want to build everything quickly. We want to achieve the results very quickly, and we don't have that kind of dedicated craftsmen who were there earlier. But false ceiling per se in the Indian context is something which is, which is not something which is superficial, but which was a part of the structure, which was very much integral as a part of the design. And then in countries like us, where the resources are not in abundance, we have to have a very great discretion in terms of how much to be used and how discreetly to be used, keeping all the safety and other requirements and the kind of complexities of the various structures which we are having in this stage. I think Yatin can reflect more.
If you permit me, I'll just give you a presentation to carry you the story of false ceiling and help us, our other panelists, to be able to deliberate a little more on that. I'll just take a few minutes. Architects, designers been doing buildings and using false ceiling as a great medium. This sound, laptop sound. Michelangelo was the one who gave us about hundreds of years back this church, the famous architect, designer, artist, and this has lasted lifelong, beyond many lives. That's called beauty and called sustainability and durability. That's called aesthetic beyond false ceiling. We had temples, good examples, beside this Sistine Church, which we did artfully. We have temples where a structure was inbuilt, a false ceiling was inbuilt to the structure itself. And so was the masjids and the mosque. You can see they are more than 500 years, 1,000 years old. That's the beauty and sustainability. We had about 50 years back this upper house. Now this is one of the recent example of the architects who made the beautiful function of the lighting, the acoustics, and the drama in the space. That's called beyond aesthetics. And we NCPA in Bombay recently done about 30-40 years back. That was again large, including about 3,000 people there, and at a large scale. The purpose is to have acoustics and lighting immersion built in that, and also have a kind of drama and lights over there. Of course, when they do a lot of dimming, a lot of things happen in the course of the show, but they're just showing the kind of spaces there. Palaces and hotels have been great places. Have given us a lot of insight when we learned in our time that we've seen most palaces and churches and kind of hotels where we learned about the false ceiling design and decoration. Of course, in the British time, and we are Baroque, and we have got a kind of sustained, and we have got many different kind of periods and journey kept on traveling. And we have learned our architecture from the British era to our ancient history. And we have moved subsequently in the course of time of independence. And our design started flowing softly. As we moved away from their tradition and society pursued further, became more evolved, it became more softer. It became more lighter. The interior design went out, it became more functional, more kind of easy to see over there. And of course, some of the even now, some of the clients do ask us, decor like this. And we are supposed to service them. We're supposed to have knowledge. And we do have some kind of architect designers, do have it till now, who does kind of works. But life is generally becoming more simpler and nicer. We are changing time. We are 21st century now. A new generation. And new generation think differently. We are funky generation. Very mod, very different. We don't think what people think. I belong last century. I don't think I ever think like I had thought in my time. Never have those clients even. But we could never think at your level what you're thinking today. But that's a new generation. And what they wanted? Free design, free form, free flowing things. You may call them funky, you may call them mod, you may call whatever name you call them. But they are nice and beautiful, they resemble life over there, they're vibrant. That's a new trend, what we have it. Fashion designers, they drape their models to different moods, depending on their society. Different people have different kind of attitude, different liking. Somebody wants ornamentation, somebody wants contemporary, somebody mod and funky, and somebody is bare minimal. So do architects, they're no less. They make the design the same way to meet the client's requirement, to meet their mood, to match them over there. They make ornamentals, they make contemporary, they make very mod, and they make also very minimal. That's the architect designer, they do it, they're no less. For example, like this kind of client, you do things like this, and as a contemporary interiors to match with the customer's need and his mood, and you have a very funky kind of, for the client over there, you may want to possibly have something beyond kind of space, and you have somebody who wants just minimal, bare minimal necessities. That's what is the kind of variety we have in business and architecture. And all this, and going beyond modern times, architects and designers have gone very much experimental in doing many things with materials, the ceiling, the design, the drama. They have become a very free-flowing society. Of course, every time today we challenge the main that things should be lasting, should be durable, should have many things. But aesthetic has changed. What is aesthetical to you and me is different for somebody else. It is open out. It is universal now. There are varieties in life, basically. I show again, my friend is already here. There's one good recent example of, where architects integrated the architecture and the decoration and lighting put together in all in one. They made it think well in time, and they couldn't do it without an industry guy who could do things for them. Some vendor, some company who said, yes sir, we can do for you. The custom design, the ceiling and panels made it modular, which goes and moves millions of pieces in a different way. That's the way kind of, you call it durability, you call it aesthetics, you got acoustics, you got sound, you got lighting and drama, all put together in, and tradition. The client is a very traditional guy. He has given a typical leaf design from Indian architecture, which they converted into what if as part of the architecture, of the design. That's a way kind of a good living example of today's time. What designer can go to what extent? Of course, it means durability. Public places like this must have a lifelong kind of quality and stability and for many things put together. We can go in detail. Our vendors tell us more about that. We have many other varieties of material, modular, for offices, for public places. We have a lot of material can be just simply adopted. And these are much more functional things. You never go out of fashion. Last 60 years we using material like this. It still goes very well, functions very well. But designers today are trying to do differently experimentally. Somebody can think straight, somebody can't think straight. Somebody just wants very simple, just flowing down. He doesn't like this zigzag. He just wants smooth curve. That's a way of expressing it. The new materials like metal, glass and LED has opened up a lot of variety for designers to how to come out, play with the design and drama and field false ceiling or treatments. Of course, glass has been used 1,000 years over there in churches to do atriums over there. We use skylights and we do in public places more and more branding and the color technology is coming that. The color glasses, the light fitting fixtures over there. Idea there to create some kind of impression, some big public space. And they go into that. Intermix it with your lighting, your ceiling, your mood, and put together you think you got to some kind of very dreamy place. And this changes lights, it changes colors, and gives a lot of different moods. How the designer thinks about it. And glass can be beautifully exploited. LED has given us again opportunity to go many small curves, leave this and whatnot, and colors of moods in your home, the public places, in your kind of skylight or a pool or whatever you call it over there. There are endless opportunities. Like you can have even chandeliers have taken the shape, different shape now. No more traditional chandeliers. No more candles in that. LED lights coming into that. The sprinkle is coming up. Maybe half a quarter watt, maybe 1/10 of a watt of a light of LED, which gives you kind of sparkle in that. Of course, more lighting comes in that. We have done some job as P&A Interiors. I'd like to show you how do we go about it in a number of years' time. I couldn't bring whole portfolio just because the other speaker also there. Just an example. I'm not a false ceiling guy. If you ask me, I'm the best, I'm the most worst customer for a false ceiling vendor. He won't like me. I don't do false ceilings. That's all. They are minimal. This home has got no false ceiling. But this home has got also no grill. I got no curtains also. This home, I made it for myself 40 years back. I still in the same home, I live in there. I used that time frameless glass, sheer glass, 40 years back. No grill and no curtain and no false ceiling. And that home I live it, the bare minimal thing I could think of that. This house is still high tech till now, but simplicity. Now I bring the same simplicity in my other works continuously when I do the false ceiling in homes. Now most people do a very simple job. Simple it is very difficult to do it. We don't do fancy things in false ceiling, but just try to give false ceiling, which gives me scope for lighting, scope for moods, scope for reflection, a surface which is clean. It looks natural, it doesn't overpower you. There's a few kind of examples of what we have it for our home interiors. Of course, some even fancy interiors for the children, a kind of dining room, and a fancy thing, a home done in Bhavnagar, a place like this, a very high tech, very advanced thing, and some real estate office where they want big drama and people come to the place, and some malls and hotel lobbies and hotel public place, kind of coffee shop cafes, and office kind of lobby and over there, office lounge there, and a portico for an IT building. The space is large; it's around 25 feet high. So the space is kind of we need to give lighting, not typical those lights coming over there, but we like to give diffuse light. Indirect light doesn't cause any glare to the drivers and people over there, but gives sufficient daylight in the portico. Shopping centers and malls, of course, become very exotic places. You can do a lot of play with glass and colors, this and whatnot over there. We really enjoy it because people is a place of like festivity. We enjoy to do over there. And some of the public building banks who want to do something fancy thing for their customers, and some fashion kind of cosmetic companies, interiors, and in any media office where people, a lot of young funky boys and girls, they come in shorts and walk over there. You know, they like to have something really vibrant and thing over there. I use about 20 colors. There's nothing in this space, only colors. Plain painted walls, colors, and lighting effect. Very kind of small light effect, but also give an opportunity to make them diffuse it. Diffuse it further, it becomes soft, and make it back to warm. Now that's the kind of trick that designers play. We do a few simple things like this, and then there's an office over there for John Slang, the American company, American company for real estate consultancy company. They want an often dramatic office. They ask them, what do you want? How do you want to structure yourself? So we want an international look. Okay, all right, leave it to me. I'll give you a look like that. And they're very happy with that. People come and make ready, and the whole office is like open office. This office, like this, when you move into office, you move from this lobby to office. When you move in there, you go to same continuity of the space, lighting down to ceiling, and two ventilations here and there, and kind of spaces. Here, MD sits in an open chamber. You got no door, just sheer glass, and they're open completely. The whole office works on that, and that's kind of drama. Be able to play it, to create kind of moods, whether workplaces, or the homes, or public places, and of course, all of them need to have a technology, durability, and of course, aesthetic, depending on the customer, different location point of view. And I think that's enough for me to say that I have communicated my point to you, and I'd like to possibly tell my other panelists to express themselves and carry further on the journey of aesthetics of false ceiling. Thank you very much. Bye.
I was just wondering when I got this invitation, what is my qualification to talk about ceiling and roof, where I have none, I think nothing overhead. So I thought that was the reason I was called for, that either I'm convinced that it's absolutely needed, or I'm convinced that you can do without it. So probably I would take these stands in that manner. Design is, it's not about beautiful or ugly. It's not about good or bad. It's always about appropriate or inappropriate. And I think it is in that light we must see this whole discussion. And I'm sure it's a discussion, so hopefully I won't take too much as a monologue, and we should open it up. And you are equal. I mean, just sitting across is probably wrong format. You're more mature and you've been probably more enlightened about it. So I think I use it as a platform that while the product manufacturers and Buildotech has facilitated this link, that they have been telling about their competence, their design, and their product. And I think as designer, we can share the needs and as applicator, what we think is what is further expected, or we want to know about that accordingly. What I thought, so that's where if we take design, it's never about finding one answer for one question. It's about asking a question, finding many answers that might respond to that question, and then picking one answer that answers most questions. That's design. So it's in that light if we say that if we take one product or an element, how many more things can it do? And that's exactly where that word false, the falseness of the false, if we can remove. So otherwise false ceiling is a false ceiling. Fashionably now it might get called as something else. But if the context demands, then what all do we subject it to? How does it become spatial and integral to design ethos? And that's where this definition of beyond aesthetic I want to widen. Because I say that it is not in mutual conflict. I want to take away this notion of funkiness as aesthetic or subjective as aesthetic. I think it's spatial, that it's integral. For example, in architecture, we might have a liberty to modulate the volumes within. But when we get a neutral space created out of mass production, there needs to be customization and modulation of the volume within. And for that, if I have to rely on any element to give me that if I'm sitting, I need a cozy space versus it's a banquet and I need larger volume. And if I have to play, or if it's a passage versus another master versus servant space. So for spatial definition, if I need to do that, like many elements, ceiling is one element through which in the interiority of that environment, I can modulate space with. And for that, therefore, ceiling needs to do much more than just being an added layer, than being so-called aesthetic layer. And that's where that bridge between the manufacturer and the applicator, that it is not looking curved and nice, It's not that it is this or that. It is manipulability, so that it can be applied to diverse situations, because this is one element by which I can customize. I have a paunch, and if I want to hide it, I must find a clothing that allows me to do that. And therefore, it is that kind of a application for which I'm looking for that covering. So it's here that if I see that as a spatial element, then it's not false. And that's where that aesthetic, in the sense that now reverse that whole equation. That if I have to use it, what all can I subject that ceiling to do? For example, and that's where I'm coming to this dialogue part of it, that if I know that that ceiling has to also maybe suspend something, then my request to the manufacturer is that please give us a ceiling that can take some weight, because it's a volume and we don't want it to go just vacant. There might be something hung, and if ceiling does not offer me that, then that's the problem. On the other end, if we were to use ceiling, why do we duplicate resource? For example, I thought earlier I never understood, even maybe I don't understand more, but I wondered that the cinema hall, they give you really grand foyers and inside amazing interiors. But outside they were all corrugated roofs and straight something, and I said, yes, ullu bana diya, make-believe. Cinema is always a make-believe word, or jagah mein bhi wahi kar diya. But probably, why duplicate if the whole onus is on ceiling for air conditioning insulation, for acoustic insulation, for whatever norms of fire, etc., etc. Why should I duplicate that? I have a concrete ceiling and then still I have those. So can I not lighten the structure if ceiling was to take the entire onus on that? So like that, if you are able to offload between the structural roof and the kind of added layer that is ceiling, I think that duplication of resource would go away. Otherwise, that is actually one area where both in terms of material resource, energy resource, and a number of things where things go beyond the kind of that's where the falseness of the element comes in. So that's where, if we can bring that purity back, if we can bring that originality, that honesty of that false back, then you are lightening that part. Like not only many functions that our enlightening speakers told us about, or even the product people have been mastering German technologies, always to admire, and I'm glad that many things that they showed is beyond what generally the typical 2x2 has been doing. But this is only to say that we can earn dinner this evening. But beyond that, we've had, of many ceilings that he showed, we have the skip roof from Kutch. Now, it's keep grass. She would know that it has very few knots having grown from that region. And whatever little rainfall, it just trickles down. And even though it's so-called breathing roof, there's no water coming in. But that from inside is a breathing ceiling which even ventilates the hot air out. So has ceiling got to be a total opaque cover from inside? Or it could also be a link. Why do we not have transparent ceiling? Why do we not have ceiling that can partly take role of the roof itself? So if we can remove that falseness part of it, then it's a spatial integral element to define the subspace for, of course, functional reasons more than many, environmental reasons to insulate. So the whole idea of multiple possibilities, and that's where, if this was a dialogue between the product manufacturer and the applicator, some kind of a demand supply need and the production sort of a competence to arrive at a marriage where flexibility as a generic idea, yes, but somewhere the insulative property is more important versus somewhere the volumetric manipulability versus the clip-onness or quickness of putting things together, etc., etc. Even associations. This is one plane that is always taking the metaphoric overtones. The floor is very pragmatic. We have to touch and be on it. They also, each element has its own spatial role to perform. Floor sets the limit. Wherever there is carpet is one territory, beyond that by textural difference is another territory. The wall gives you the sense of enclosure, that you're contained, but it's the roof or the ceiling that gives the sense of volume. And therefore, to complete this story of territorialness, enclosure, and the volume conception, I think all elements are required to complete that space grammar. And therefore, in that, if we can find these different demands and nuances and the competence of technology and the manufacturing sector to provide for that, we don't put it just because that's what is available. It's other way around. It's available because that's what we need it. Okay? So I think if it's in that context, if we're able to arrive at some sort of a dialogue, and if we can bring out the kind of demand part of it, bring out the kind of expectations part of it, and bring out the kind of need of application part of it, and see, you're more creative, we don't need to tell you, or at least I don't need to ever tell you how to use it. You may be using it much more creatively, but as a collective platform, as fraternity of designer, how do we see this as an integral dimension of space making, and therefore create it as honest as an element of creating that spatial syntax? Then I think this dialogue would lead to going beyond the product and the manufacturer's ambit.
I would like to add something. Say for example, Nervi's structures, they hardly required any acoustics because the integral part of the structure was such that it already achieved the acoustic properties which were needed. Similarly, if, like you rightly said, if what you want to achieve space-wise, and if the structure and the interior are integrated right from the beginning, there are many things which are what we call as a notion as a false can be perhaps eliminated. Because traditionally in place like India, where volume is actually a boon, in fact if you have a larger volume, so you don't want to really cut down the volume by putting a false roof, but you are putting it essentially for serving such a certain purpose. But if your structure itself is serving that, then yes, you can minimize, you can save the resources.
I think I'd like to call upon Mr. D'Souza to carry forward your views on that.
Yeah, please.
You heard a lot from us.
Thank you very much, and
you're more smarter than us to respond back.
now that puts me under more pressure. No, first of all, I was overwhelmed with what I saw, and what struck my mind was, if we go 500 years back, I think they handled acoustic far more better than what we handle now. This is for everybody to see, not only in India but around the world. If you look at the architectural structures around the world, I mean, we are doing so complex mathematics to achieve those same things that they did without the mathematics in place. So definitely they knew much more. We are hitting across this situation now and trying to use mathematics to resolve the problem in the true sense of using mathematics. Having said this, a few things which you said struck me the most, and for which I made some notes about. The duplication of resource. This is a very interesting topic for us. I have seen in a lot of places now, even in Europe, that they do not want to use too much of ceiling material. They want to go much more concrete in this sense. They want to see more of concrete. This, in one way, is trying to be minimalistic. You have a roof. Why do you want to duplicate it? Why can't we do just with the roof in place? So it is now the pressure is on us for us to address the acoustics within this system, because with being minimalistic, something comes up, and this something seems to be fire protection, and this something seems to be acoustics. It's well documented and it's well known that let's say if we take an example of a classroom, we see many schools, the air conditioning has come in because they now know that children are feeling uncomfortable and they cannot concentrate. But but they don't seem to be understanding that acoustics also is now a very important part in their learning process, because they can easily get distracted, the teacher cannot be heard properly, and this, let's say, is still not understood by the trust or the people who are setting up these organizations. We are trying our best to get into there to make them understand that acoustics plays now a very important role in how the students' development happens. You know, we have this system of going to church every Sunday, you know, and amazingly in my church, I lose interest in 30 seconds flat. That's it for me, because the priest seems to be saying the same thing twice. So when the echo covers the next word, I am done. 30 seconds is all I can. Now a lot of people still go to church to say these by-hearted prayers. I'm sorry for this, but this is not the topic. The topic is, if he says something different, then we lose track. This must be happening in school. So we need to create an acoustic environment out of this minimalistic design. I'm sure we need to do this. And this is where the industry has moved towards in the recent past, when we invited rafts, clouds, buffles, which do not interfere with sight, gives you a feeling of being minimal, but in the same overtones ensures that it achieves the goal of keeping acoustics in place. We also want to protect these concrete structures from fire. If there is a fire, let's say in India we are not driven by standards too much, but if we take a look at this and if we put a lot of interest in this, we will realize that we have to keep life safe and we have to keep our records safe. All this is within the structure. So we have to ensure that this structure ensures that whenever there is a calamity of fire, we have to evacuate within a given time. This is where we come in again. We have to ensure that the soffit, we all agree commonly that passageways are escape routes. And we end up putting these 2x2 ceilings and we take the blame. Of course, because we go with the flow. And we don't put our foot down and say, hold on, you have to have something to protect the ceiling, the soffit, but at the same time ensure that the soffit is not, the ceiling itself is not vulnerable, which means that if the ceiling hooks get burnt, then the whole ceiling comes down and then you are trapped in this 2x2 in which you cannot run away. So the cause for which you are using the ceiling itself is a trap. So we have to introduce new elements which manufacturers like us do, and we offer systems which are end-to-end with no suspension in the middle at all, which means it takes much longer time for the fire to bring down the ceiling. These are a few entry points we are thinking about.
I would like to point out one thing here. You see, when we design the building, the concrete is not that soft a material which will simply burn away in 20 minutes or something like that, which you just mentioned. It is really not to protect the concrete that we are making the ceiling. That is, let it be very clear, because if ceiling is, whatever standards that we follow, ASTM, British standards or whatever, those standards are there for the ceiling to be, fire resistant for whatever time that we want. But the concrete, in fact, is far superior than that ceiling can ever be. So, I mean, that particular thing I wouldn't, it is indeed a different, acoustics when you talk about, perhaps concrete has its own limitations, and then like Mr. Pandya pointed out, and Mr. Gandhi pointed out, and Mr. Prem so lucidly illustrated, if you want to create certain feelings, certain moods, and be, funky sometimes or sometimes straight, so then, I think that is somehow a major purpose of the ceiling nowadays. So I don't think that fire and all those safety issues, you see, to protect the ceiling, then we create a ceiling, another false one, which is again fire resistant and its members are fire resistant, and you're making sure those hangers are fire resistant. I think we are going a bit too far. That should not really be the motto of the ceiling, basically. Of course, indeed, it should be fire resistant. Anything we are putting in the building, whether it is ceiling or even this carpet, it has to be fire resistant, 100%. But at the same time, that should not be the, if it is without sealing, it should just work fine from the fire safety point of view.
Okay, the DIN standards in Europe are very clear about what the sealing does. This is not an argument, it's my understanding of what the DIN really does. It's not about bringing the soffit down. The soffit is not weak. It's about not allowing the soffit to reach certain critical temperatures because there is steel inside the soffit. And this material can do damn good to ensure if installed in standards. Therefore, we do not certify, we are not talking about just fireproof material. I'm sorry. We are talking about fireproof installation. And that itself tells you that we do not want the soffit to reach critical temperatures before evacuation. Yeah. We don't care what happens after evacuation because this really depends on how importantly fast the temperature reaches to, let's say, 3000 degrees.
You mean to say it's a buffer? It's a kind of a buffer?
Yes. The standards very clearly declare membrane sealings as a buffer. Is a buffer. It's just not allowing you. Another switch to this is what happens when the sealing itself or the membrane itself is subjected to this fire. You will notice that if there is a fire, less people die due to the fire, more of them die due to the smoke. And therefore, what goes into making of this product is very, very important than what it physically looks. Because all of them, actually, according to me, I always say, am I born to sell this stupid 600 by 600? Really, this is a comment which we make when we are, having a drink or two. But really speaking, it's what about what the material is made out of. And if the material is made out of paper, material is made out of steel slag, like a lot of Chinese manufacturers do, all hell can break loose. Yeah, so we are trying to use biosoluble rock wool.
No, that's a wonderful product.
To ensure that if you are staying in this environment, all these products are not particle free. If somebody tells you all these products are particle free, there's something wrong with this. These particles breathe. They give out particles. All these elements. The question is what happens to you when you breathe them constantly. And biosoluble mineral wool very clearly states you can breathe this for a lifetime because your body salts can just absorb or all these grains are soluble in your body salts. And if you look at later the hindsight of the sample, we carry a special RAL certificate, which is a third party certificate telling us that these people are using biosoluble elements. But this is coming really to the product. I don't want to waste a lot of time on here. Another thing which struck me most is, the fast track. We are also in this world of fast track and budget. And I agree, I would not want an overwhelming 2x2 ceiling on my head in my bedroom. Of course not. But today we have far more better solutions to this. Hera Design is one of the classic solutions. I invite you later to have a look at a reference book at what you can do or what we are offering to the architect to play with. I would say, I would really use the word play. You need something to play with, I give you a product. What can you do with this product? Is the product limited to a size? Is the product limited to a color? Is the product limited to sturdiness? I wouldn't say we can address all of them. We are in the process of trying to find out what materials can we do better and better and better. But Hera Design is, according to me, a killer product. Because first of all, it is totally natural. It is wood. Two, we have mastered the art of making wood a A2 product, fire protective. All we do is cover this wood with a layer of sand. And this is patented. So we cannot allow anybody to do this for some time now, because we really understood the art of covering every strand of the wool in sand. This gives you now freedom to use it inside a space safely, because you got fantastic 45 minutes of evacuation time. You can use it on the wall, you can use it on the ceiling, you can cut it in shapes that you want, you can deal with it like wood, you can use it in recording studios, because It has fantastic effect on low frequency sounds. You can use it in your home theaters because you have the liberty to paint it into darker shades without disturbing the acoustic qualities of the product, and all this you can do at site. We give you the bare wood. You tell us what you want to do with this. It can be fixed on a gypsum structure. It can be fixed on a wooden panel. It can give you sound reduction, or we in India understand NRC better. We can give you NRC right from 0.1, which means we can make the ceiling very reflective, to a NRC of 1, which means the other extreme of being very, very absorptive. So there is a huge offering. I know there are some lines we cannot cross and get into what we saw in your presentations, but I was happy that you are not completely not buying 2x2, because I saw a few of them. and also
No arcade like that.
also we are playing today with formats. You know, the 600 by 600 is generally a no-go with architects. You know, they want better shapes, they want better sizes. So we can go with these planks as long as 2 meters, 2.5 meters, a single plank.
No, but there is nothing wrong with 600 by 600. See, the architects have to cater to the need of the client.
No, seriously,
If you are doing an economical building where there is acoustic is an important issue,
Of course.
you don't want to spend more, yes, fine, what's wrong with it? It's all right.
It's very interesting
Absolutely fine.
very interesting to hear from you. That's what you're giving us as a vendor. Communicate to us over there. It's very nice, great learning. I remember in my formative years, I learned more from Speech Catalog. You know, the American Speech Catalog. I learned detailing from there, and that was a storehouse of different vendors. They had design centers over there where 24 people come and display their products over there, and their sales people there, marketing guy over there, telling the visitors as to how the product can be used. We learned in the formative years. Then we learned how to play with that. We are players. Architects never satisfied themselves. They're never ending. And there are customers who want much more than that. You know, I got third generation client. A grandson has hired me to do his place because he thinks that I can think at his level. Now, the architects have no limit. But it's nice to learn from you. In fact, you must, all of you had technically sound, a lot of research in material. You know what is expected out of this from the industry, from the actually, not the beside aesthetic, from the properties required to be done over there. You should also possibly, must be having already, add on architectural wing in your manufacturing side to bring aesthetics and how to play with the material. They can give a lot of guide to a lot of youngsters. Besides players like us who can do beyond that. And what happened at Chennai Airport? The example is a very simple example, because vendor could come forward to do something specially built for the customer.
I would like to suggest one thing to them, is that when you talk of the acoustic products, for example, many times for architects to approach an acoustic consultant for, you know, some of the regular jobs, it's difficult, or, you know, there are not so many guys who are available. So I would suggest that if, and that should be purely on the basis of the actual result and some, you know, supported by statistics, not from the selling point of view of your product. But for example, if a particular NRC is to be achieved, with how much minimal thing, or like we know that in an auditorium, certain surface is going to reflect the sound, so you require only false ceiling in some area. So if you are able to support the architects with certain amount of calculation, that this is the product which is the right product, which will give you economy, I think that will be a great service.
Don't put acoustic people out of business.
Not all. All will not go out of business in any case.
We need them. We need them. Of course. I'm an architect. As an architect, I know everything in the industry. I know science. I know chemistry. I know structure. I know hydraulics. I know plumbing. I know everything. I know even firefighting and your automation. I know everything. Everything I have to apply it over there. I understand. I can integrate them, but I need statistics to do his job. We need vendors who can explain to us, so that we can be guided. Because we choose material. Of course, our consultant will help us to do that over there. But we
I think guys are doing it now.
Yeah, understand. So don't put them out of business. But it's nice that you should give us education to us. See, your vendors, your customers are architects. including consultants. They're part of your team basically, including the customers you are actually going to use over there. I'm just saying it's wonderful that you are taking pain, and you must add on more onto your wing, giving more aesthetics. When you're talking about aesthetics, aesthetics is beyond limit. There's no end to that. Never ending thing over there. And it changes time to time. Then you have to be very open minded. Like I've seen, you have a variety of people to meet, different kind of client or customers, different variety of architects going to confront them. You should be again open to that. It's a great thing. I was saying that we're talking about acoustics. Architecture, for architect, everything is a common sense. You know, I'll give you an example. A hall of this size done for Hindustan Lever, with training, where the company directors come and train their senior people, including chairman come and speak to them, and they didn't want to use a mic. And some must go all the way there. We had deployed a mic, but then my caustic fellow refused to tell me that it can happen or not. Now I had to use my own common sense. I made a front floor up to here wood, hard surface, veneer. I'm talking about 15-20 years back. I kept some portion of the roof again slightly inclined and put in wood and veneer. I put carpet there after over there, put small portion over there on the side and over there, and we had wood desk in any case, and a chairman could speak normal language to the last person. Now, that is called acoustics. But materials, of course, we used other materials, also absorbent materials. This way they had done a school in Baroda. We were given platinum rating for that. We didn't want to use false ceiling, because false ceiling is difficult to maintain. School, large area, 200,000 square area, secondary school of botanical property, and we can't control only by acoustics, kind of false ceiling only. You have windows, you open space, you got light to come over there. So what I used acoustic plaster, vermiculite. I mixed vermiculite and plaster, all my walls, all my ceiling, entire area, and that gives me at least 50% effect on the acoustic sound, which now my entire noise has reduced and is comfortable and least expensive. Of course, best thing of course I could use it. I could use beautiful acoustic tile, give some drama over there, whatnot over there. But the point is, architects somewhere to apply common sense and must have knowledge material how to achieve things. We could do the same way, because we got even concrete, exposed concrete can be given, right, if you pre-planned properly nicely over there, can give soft texture on the underside. That which gives you built-in inbuilt property of your acoustic absorbent over there. What you call the roughness likely requires, slight minor roughness over there. Again, it depends on how you're going to form to use over there. I just recently seen it when I went to Australia, Sydney, Opera House over there. John Woods, the room was made for him. From there to here, all the way up 50 feet long, there is a slab concrete going over there, it's sloping there, concrete walls, and no acoustics. You know what they've done in there? They call it acoustical equipment. The sound matches the surroundings. The sound produces the kind of environment. The form, shape, size, and the people occupancy, the equipment adjusts itself. Now that's a new technology. Now this is sharing a bit of thought when talking about concrete being used as part of acoustics over there. Compare false ceiling, today we live in a different world. Today we have fast track over there, we have public building, IT building, hotel resorts over there, and we have large scale kind of spaces over there. We have a lot of high power sound, which we didn't have it in our earlier last century before that over there. Today we have discos, and today we have jazz, and we have kind of very high power kind of environment that requires, like multiplexes, malls, we require false ceiling in any case. Two, not only acoustic point of view, to hide our ducts, air conditioning, to hide our kind of sprinklers, wiring, cabling, data cabling, projection thing, whatever it is. So false ceiling is required. Cannot be say can't do false ceiling. It's an essential thing. Now how to do false ceiling? What material is used over there? There's a different very big field. I showed a few examples. And very much we appreciate the vendors coming forward, giving us some ideas of theirs, giving us quality of materials available, opportunities available there, and life what is concerned. I tell you before me, I'm doing a project in Mayapur, doing the world's largest temple called Vedic Planetarium. The brief given to me is life should be 500 years. Okay? I use stainless steel reinforcement for the piling. I use about 50,000 tons of reinforcement steel for the structure, M60 concrete. I'm not using any kind of what you call as recesses, no kind of hollow things in that. I'll be using stainless steel cable trays. I'll be using kind of stainless steel screws, stainless steel plumbing piping to have lifelong over there. My problem is cables and problem is false ceiling material. I got to do false ceiling in any case. I can't hide that. I need to have material that can last that longer. And how to fix it. You know, this challenge, how it comes. And we're discussing with German companies as to what they're developing special thing about us. The cables and false ceiling materials. I do wall cladding, marble, this, that, whatnot. But when you false ceiling, I need acoustics also. Of course, I can do the break the surfaces, give them form, give them shape, give them intricacies over there, to how the sound behaves over there in a large public area where almost about 100,000 people come and gather in one place. Also part of that. The challenge is there. And I need also drama, I need lighting, I don't, effect also there. I just kind of put kind of industrial kind of thing also there. That's the real challenge. And we challenge you can't obviously alone. We need vendors. We go to vendors. The problem, can we see a solution? He thinks, property point of view, I think a study point of view. Then we put together two application how to do it. That is the kind of scope we have it in our industry. We need to have a lifelong, we have safety. What happened more, most of us, we have good materials, but bad installation. Sports are not adequately, they are very poor sporting, they use wood in between, wood framing, thing like that over there. Like that is bad. But even sometimes we need to have quite durable kind of sporting system before this material is fit. And material fitted once it lasts kind of. I've done some job for German companies, for Lufthansa over there. 40 years, it is intact, in line. Very straight line till now. And that's the quality material. I've done some like old cupboards, cabinets, 8 feet long cabinets, high shutters. They're still there intact, they don't go up. That's the quality of construction and installation. What is required? Detailing on that, how to do it. And vendors know better than we know it. Because they have been dealing many of them.
I'll add something on the lighter side. See, if you have to do a building with exposed brickwork, you have to integrate everything beforehand, course to course, every this thing. But so false ceiling is also for many people it's an escape route.
Yes.
You see, you have not planned your services properly.
That's a fast track.
You have not
That's right.
planned your things properly. You want to hide everything. So put the ceiling, put the paneling. So you see, if I have to do, and that's why people have gone now for the brick cladding option. Because exposed brick work building, if you want to do, you have to integrate everything beforehand, course to course, So it's also an escape route, So let's. This is just the lighter side of it.
Yes, surely.
Best way to hide.
I think we should hear from the audience.
let's hear.
Ask some questions because it will be very interesting to hear from you. Your views, your comments, some suggestions, what you have it.
Let's hear.
Mr. D'Souza, you are very much right in the
Jury say, other side is saying, so you are taking your electrical cable, you are taking your data cable, you are taking your smart things, whatever, networking of lot of things which is getting hidden. If you go to aircraft and you happen to see one panel open and you will go crazy, what you see is a space, which quality which is given to the space, there are a lot of hidden things, highly integrated and number of networking which is going. So that networking has an arsenic property when it goes to a fire, and at the same time to run the building in a larger format, you need a fire protection to that particular of space. If even that space has a air volume which is entering into the main volume as a air return. So that you are absolutely right, but it was I think wrongly said, but you need a fire protection for that particular layer of 2 feet or 3 feet. And the lot of, in today's requirement, you have a lot of network. It's very, you need something to hide for. You cannot plan everything in front, because requirement will keep on changing.
A nice explanation I heard about this, maybe it skipped my mind when I was trying to explain this. They said if the fire is on top, then you need to escape. But if the fire is below, you need the communication systems alive. So at least you can communicate. So it works both ways.
Oh, that's
so the
right.
membrane,
That's right.
membrane in the middle does a lot of the work.
No, at the same time, I mean, by the same, in the same vein, when we talk about, for instance, the suspended ceiling or false ceiling that we are talking about, each and everything is tested and tried before it is actually allowed to be used, especially in Western world. So similarly, the concrete or brick or whatever building material which goes into making a building is likewise tested and fully proved, then only it is allowed. So it is not at all necessary from the fire point of view to have suspended ceiling. Yes, there you are right. If you want to protect certain aspects like cabling and all, you can use either ceiling or some other product. But per se, to actually state that we want to protect the basic structure of the building, or that I wouldn't agree, because otherwise no standard in that is perfect. That means
I will send you a copy of the certification.
No. Yeah, but I think you should be knowing that the concrete can be made of whatever strength the human mind desires, actually.
The
You
Americans
can
are very
manipulate
funny,
every aspect of it, whether it is a steel, like he's talking about the stainless steel being used for plumbing and for everything. Similarly, the reinforced cement concrete, you can vary its strength to such a large degree that it can in fact become something which can house nuclear reactor. That also is possible. Of course, because that is lined by lead or whatever. But that is, so what I am saying is the concrete is perhaps a very strong material, and to save that, ceiling would not be, it's not a really very good selling point, I would say.
Stefan, close your ears. The Westerners are very funny, First they... So why don't you stop making the noise? So, sorry.
Talk in silence.
But yeah, I agree with you. Totally in agreement with you.
Just speak in silence. Speak in silence. No noise. Talk in silence. No question required.
Let's hear, there are some housewives here, let's hear from them. What do they think of ceilings in the homes? What do they think of the ceilings in the homes? They are just unnecessarily add-ons, according to me. So,
of course, in my house I would never allow a ceiling.
Exactly.
No chance.
Sonal, you can say something.
We are just beside you. There will be rats and there's a lot of cobwebs. So,
You remember, Ajit, in
in
the
a
GSFC, there was a rat which had entered into this false ceiling, and they had a big investigation to find out where, and there was a big rat, so it was making such a huge noise. People used to get scared when it used to pass on the top.
So, rodent proof. No. In this context, to clarify, none of our ceilings are recommended for residences. So we are not in this segment at all. So I personally do not take any responsibility. Purely commercial.
Mr. D'Souza, as you said, issues are there like budget and everything. So it's not necessary that when, you cannot put up, you have to be constrained to a specific type of ceiling most of the time. So I personally find a large gap between the, putting it on, using it, and the manufacturer. Some manufacturers definitely have gone beyond this thing. So, as a manufacturer, or how can you, evolve this, and as designers also, how can we combinedly try and, get this gap narrow? So, maybe do you have some line of products or something which might be, not so much expensive and little bit moderate, so they can, people can start using it and just get out of this notion of false ceiling. This typical grid thing.
Planks more cheaper than they are?
No, it's not the question of being cheaper, but the right application, and you can help designers. Today, I was designing a hospital in my studio. I said, 2 by 2 का कर दो और बाकी का जो रेसिड्यू स्पेस रहता है मेक अ जिप्सम सीलिंग. दैट्स हाउ आई मीन मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग वर्क्स. बट even I was fortunate to use different in a auditorium and all different sizes, you know. So this sizes and all doesn't come in the very commercial. I mean, the very general buildings or general interiors. Usually we don't get these things. So do you have some line of product which might not be, which might fit in the budget of such buildings and or something like that?
In the past, I have seen the only way price moves is south. And the only way cost goes is north. So this debate of cost and price will always exist in the market. Having said this, I think there are two issues here. One is how do we reach out to customers to tell them how to use more of this material. Not only use, let's say, how can we make it available to the customer? The more you talk about it, the more you show this product, the more you will be tempted to use it somewhere. And only when you install it will you know that the cost is not actually formidable. There is an element of growth in price, of course, but it's not formidable. It's only in the mind. The second issue is, I think about 30% of our sales today is forming the 1200 by 300, 1500 by 300, 1800 by 300 and 2000 by 300. So we have a lot of ceilings today which are going in these plank formats. More and more architects are accepting this format. There is also ease of ease of removing the ceilings when you want to access the top. There is also less suspension, so this reduces the undercarriage elements you need below the ducts and the lighting systems. It reduces the load a lot. So the unfortunate part is, I think, when it starts becoming longer, it needs to become thicker because it needs to be sturdy in the middle, or they will all sag. This is not what you want to achieve. So this is keeping the price a little up. But eventually what you want is a flat ceiling, of course. There are other ways of making this product strong. You put something you put some chemical or you put something and keep it straight, make it more stronger. But the problem is then you are not achieving the fire protection and acoustics, because the more denser they become, the less acoustically, the word is wrong, the less absorptive they remain. So we have to cut that sweet balance between keeping the product like a biscuit, like a cookie. It has to be dry and it has to be absorptive in nature. So this is always a challenge. New materials, of course, I would excuse myself out of this discussion because we currently claim to be working very strong on mineral fiber or the wet felt process. We have not moved out from wet felt to something else. So currently we only have this material to play with. I don't know what happens, what we have in store for the future, where our management decides, okay, let's start talking about some other elements or other material. Currently we have this facility which Stefan talked about, of 50 million square meters. Of course our goal is this, but with your help, we are sure we can make certain special requirements. We can meet these special requirements. We have done that in the past. And we can definitely show you in the reference books where the architect said, okay, I want this ceiling, but the challenge is you do make a particular thing out of this ceiling and give it to me. And you can see it in these reference books. The pressure is coming from the architect. We are solely remaining the manufacturers. And it is the architect who decides, I want to paint this in a particular format, I want to cut this in a particular format. This is coming. It's not that it's not coming. Somebody asked me, why are you against 600 by 600? I am against the 600 by 600 because we are dealing with it continuously as 600 by 600. I am one who wants to move out of this format of 600 by 600. It is very, very monotonous for me, personally. If I ever built my own office, I will never ever 600 by 600. I am through with this.
Another problem which we face with the ceiling is, now the ceiling people say that that they do not want any electrical fixture or any speaker or something directly loaded onto it, which is perfectly fine. And even electrical people insist that their lighting fixture has to be actually anchored to the RCC slab above. Now we want a compromise so that it can be done. In most sites it is a very difficult thing to achieve basically, because ceiling is going on and the electrical fixture fellow comes, the wiring is done, but the lighting fixture, when it is being installed, then they generally, take out tiles or break the ceiling and then go all the way up and then, I mean, this problem happens in almost all sites. I think, why can't we have a ceiling which can easily take the load of typical lighting fixture, 600 by 600 lighting fixture?
Sir, we have a solution.
Yeah.
We have a solution.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, we have a solution. Who said we require support from the
Electrical specifications.
Not required, sir.
No, okay, but electrical specification they insist upon it because they say
The ceiling fellow or the...
electrical installation.
Actually, I have heard this argument contrary. The
No.
Electrical fellow says,
both are
why
true.
should I have supports when I can already keep it on the ceiling?
No.
And the ceiling fellow
Both are
says,
true.
oh, thank you very much, please suspend it separately.
No.
I think this is the debate.
No. All the electrical specification very clearly state that the lighting fixture has to be supported and secured at the ceiling, RCC, not suspended ceiling. And suspended ceiling people also say the same thing actually. And if you have a system which can take it, it is very good. That's what I want.
We don't need it simply for the fact that only two things need to be taken care of. One, the quality of the suspension needs to be certain standards. I am sorry to say this, but what is happening in India is, it started with 0.7 thickness, then it moved to 0.6, then it came to 0.5. Slowly we'll have grids made of paper.
Yeah.
And you put on the fan and the grid will fly away. Seriously. So what is happening in the wake of costing down, we are actually playing with basic specs. Now, if you read our manual, I can show you a copy of our manual. It says just one extra support wherever you are putting a light fitting. Just one extra support, but provided we are using this quality of grid. If you are playing with the quality of grid, what happens is, in the past I used to see grids going like this, because when you make them thinner and thinner, they are more like, in the recent past I've seen grids going like this. So they seem to be going in any direction, and this is because we are playing with the specs. And this is a competition of you versus me, your cost versus my cost. This is why I think when I started my discussion, I said standards. Sadly, there are no standards. We are trying our best to bring in standards, but price comes in the way. And we are dealing with a network, and the network is also trying to play its own profits, So I am a manufacturer. I have to approach the market with a distributor in the middle or a dealer in the middle. They are also playing the game because they want the order, because there is this big talk always when I talk to my dealers. Sir, हम नहीं करेंगे तो कोई और करेगा. And okay, we are taking certain steps to a certain extent to ensure that somebody goes and inspects site and sees whether the products used are right or not, But this cannot be out of context. If this guy doesn't know the whole story of what happened during the process of sale and what made the dealer or the distributor agree to give such a ceiling, then it would be impromptu destroying the process of installation and the process of relation. So there is a sort of a tightrope walk here.
I want to put in I want to play devil's advocate here in the sense that they're still accepting that this is a kind of a product and this is the only way this should be used and applied and whatnot, and we want to put every onus on one way of putting it up. For example, the moment you separate out that ceiling can do many things, but for everything this is not the only way to install. For example, to hide the trench of cable, I don't need to cover the entire ceiling. So can I not have one little box-like possibility that I only express like the beams are expressed likewise, so I save cost. I have double the thickness of the panel, but I don't need to double the area or 10 times the area. So first of all, why is it seen only as a plane and plane as suspended? Let's come to that suspended part. But if I need it for acoustic, why should I suspend it? Can I not hug it to the layer, or for fire and whatnot? A lot of space goes down because of the suspension. A lot of other structural elements come in because of the suspension. While all I need is a layer that could be stuck also onto the surface. So these are just example to say that sealing, therefore I say, is a phenomena. We should not talk about a product and what it can deliver, but you as a group of whatever company who provide this layer, the layer could do different things, yet the same kind of a role that it has to play, but for each the method of installation could be different, for each the need for going through one or the other rigor could be different, and by that it does not become therefore false, does not become obligation that jitna area utna wo, before you even visit the site itna ceiling to laga de fir main aake dekh jata, So I think then it would have to be integral. So it's in that light I think we need to move. Right now I have this and I would want to cover it this way is what we are saying. I can, the way these Shamiana people do, that they have a cable, it's temporary, but they put a, cloth only on that pole. So for that I don't have to put another layer below the cloth awning coming in. So same way, if we identify that these are 10 functions the layer of this sort need to do, this is what I meant by flexibility. So it's not aesthetic is the last thing, and that funkiness should be the word out of this anything, But
young people.
And that aesthetic is not a bastion of an architect. Aesthetic is actually the bastion of a beholder, the one who wants to see it. Okay, my child is a triple marker, but for me is the best child. So I would always see it in high esteem. But it's for the world to see this is handsome or this is what. So I think beauty lies not with architect but with other. So let's not bring this that architects and aesthetic.
You can take a viewpoint here. How many people find this ceiling beautiful and how many?
No, forget that's subjective, but that's what I'm saying.
Who should raise the hand? The guys who don't.
It's a very simple thing, aesthetic is something very subjective.
Yeah.
Sir, who do you want to raise the hand?
Beyond, there are 10 functions that you assign to ceiling. Does that phenomena of ceiling give me 10 different ways of putting it? Or it has to be just one something? Okay, so like if 60 by 60, but do I have to design therefore now on the buildings in the module of 60? Spaces in the module of 60? So that means as a manufacturer I know that there would be a residue. And what am I doing for the residue as a system? Simple. That is not an afterthought. That's part of a manufacturing. What is the end condition? That's part of the whole system. Okay. I have a light integrated with this. That's part of the system. The speaker and all are part of the system for which I'm putting that layer. So that's what I mean, that it has to be woven in. Then it is not false. That's honest layer. I'm clothing myself. But it's honest clothing. It's telling that it's cotton, it's this and it's that.
Sir, I am an engineer by qualification.
Good.
The sad part of it is I am a delivering engineer. You know what is a delivering engineer? I am not the research type. If I go to a research and development institution, either I will kill them or they will kill me.
I think
So why I have to make this comment is they are doing some testing behind, and I am the following guy. Unfortunately or fortunately. Now what they tell me, or what the science of acoustic tells us, is that the most expensive thing in acoustics is the volume of air. Remove the air, you are done. Any acoustical material does not behave acoustically well.
Yes.
This is the reason why the air void behind. All of them are tested in a gap of 200 mm. If we make it 300, 200 is the sweet spot. If you make this void 300, it works negatively. If you make it 100, it works more negatively. And if you touch it to the ceiling, you're done. Forget it, don't even use it. Don't even use it. Okay, so this was just a clarity what my engineers tell me and what the research tells me.
No, it's not the point taken there. It is not the same way that when you use the material on the wall cladding, etc., there is known clearances and all, so nobody denies that. But that clearance is not the same as having to lose this much of my vertical volume, and therefore the cost, and therefore the, I can add one more floor if the false ceilings in this world were not there.
Because
And that would mean too much of economics to me.
to get the most out of a acoustic ceiling, all we need is 200 mm.
No, but actually special type of plasters and things like.
No, there are many alternatives, but what I mean is that clearance is different. So when you have ceiling for whatever, to the best German scientific know-how, it is there. Nobody wants to compromise there, but that is not the same as the fire, and that is not the same as simply hiding the wire.
Any more questions on this side? Backbenchers? There are just people tell you. I was all the time, all 5 years of a backbencher. He said never knew where was there. Please. Looks like time to close it, I suppose. And I shall request Mr. Gandhi to summarize it. Today's proceedings has concluded what we have said and what we have heard from the audience tonight, please.
I think we've had a wonderful session where I think from the philosophical part of the ceiling per se to the actually functionalities and nitty-gritties of lot of executions, etc. A wide spectrum has been discussed, and I think it started with a very good this thing where we saw some of the traditional examples of various buildings which have been existing in India since such a long time and even internationally. And for example, the whole discussion, it's the stimulating part is that the whole discussion started with a note that why false ceiling at all? I mean, So then we really came into the discussions where what is really required, what is not required, what is relevant, and how we should use our resources in a meaningful, in a fruitful fashion. And of course, Mr. D'Souza gave a lot of insight into, in fact, that example of the church which he gave was a very, very good example. That how when a space is acoustically bad, how difficult it is. And what I also feel is that more and more as the teaching methods or more and more the demands of the new age increase, such things are very, very relevant, because now we are, and see, it is also that we are building in a hurry. So there are many things which, let's face it as a fact of life, that the kind of attention which really a building traditionally used to require and used to be given, that is not there in the real world now. So therefore, there are also solutions like this, that yes, there are so many things which are coming in within the building. Building has become like a living organism, and there are so many utilities which are running through the building. So I think it's very relevant, but the discussion which we had is, it started with, the questioning of the fundamentals, and that is why I think, and then we also had a very good interactive session with the audience, where many things were raised. For example, that whether, what is the purpose that the false ceiling is really serving, and also that this being a German product, I think all very good international standards are met with, and the applications of each, plus allowing the freedom to the designer has also been brought out. So I think in general the whole session has been a very fruitful session, where we got different views, different perspective, and I hope the audience also agrees with me. I think that's how I conclude.
Members?
Time for dinner.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank our panelists for this wonderful discussion, and the audience for all the questions you posed to make this discussion really fruitful. So on behalf of Knauf AMF and Buildotech, we'd actually like to offer a token of appreciation to our panelists, and I call upon Mr. Teddy D'Souza to do the honors. Mr. Hiren Gandhi. Mr. Yatin Pandya. And architect Mr. Prem Nath. Yes. And
This is a new way.
and I'd like to give one to Mr. Terry D'Souza.
It's not 60
Yeah, but it's still a square. I don't like squares.
It's 27 by 27.
It's 27. To be precise, 27 by 27.
All right. Thanks to all of you, and all of you are requested now to continue this interaction and this discussion over dinner. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.